what you see, like a battery. I'm staying charged on my feet, I'm like a factory. Dropping lines like an assembly, I'm staying on point.
How you doing, guys? Welcome to ZukaTube, and today we're going to be reviewing the Suicide Squad movie. Now, this isn't the Suicide Squad you remember before. It's, I guess, the Suicide Squad instead of Suicide Squad. Either way, just came out August 6th on HBO Max and in theaters, and I'm going to play the trailer real quick. We're going to do a little bit of reviewing. I got a clip to play and stuff like that, and then we'll go into some spoilers as well. All right, here we go. Ooh, this is a Red Band trailer, you know, 'cause it's red.
You gotta be kidding me. You're gonna risk the entire mission for a mental defective dressed as a court jester.
It's coming from a guy that wears a toilet seat on his head. We don't leave one of our own behind.
Hopefully Harley's still
Does
alive.
look like a toilet seat.
No funny
I hear you.
business, Colonel. These are
Amanda Waller's back.
Team 2 is clear to go.
Fire up. 3, 2.
What are you guys doing?
You could tell, obviously, like,
You,
there's
but
some
we're
return
gonna
guys,
save you.
and
were gonna
this is
save
obviously
me?
a little bit of a new
Really
crew,
good
too.
plan, too.
Well, I can go back inside and you can still do it.
That's patronizing.
I'm so sorry. Harley Quinn.
Blood sport.
You know the deal. Successfully complete
His
the
character's
mission,
cool.
you get
Pete
10 years
Davidson's
off your
character's
sentence.
whatever. It's funny watching Bloodsport because he's basically like almost a replica of
You
Will
fail to
Smith's
follow
character,
my orders in
Deadshot.
any way, and I detonate the explosive device in the base of your skull.
They skip over the origin story for these guys for the most part. You know, they assume you've pretty much seen the first one. Captain Boomerang's back, as you can see.
Nom nom.
Harley's obviously back. King Shark. Sylvester Stallone plays King
Any
Shark. It's great.
questions?
And
Yes, that is your hand. Very good.
we're all gonna die.
I hope so.
He's great too. Polka Dot Man.
Here's the deal. We fail the mission, you die.
If we find out any information you give us is false, you die.
If we find out you have personalized
Thinker.
license plates, you die.
What? No.
If you cough without covering your mouth,
Harley, although that isn't an open invitation for you to cough without covering your mouth.
What's the plan?
What the hell am I supposed to know?
You're the leader. You're supposed to be decisive.
And I've decided
A
that
lot
you're
of
sitting
witty
in a big bag
banter.
of dicks.
And as you can see by the
This whole
trailer,
base was completely covered in dicks.
you see
And
that
somebody
they're
said ID
not all
every
the
dick
Suicide
until
Squad
beach is
members
clean
they
for
show are
living
in
out.
together in most of the scenes because obviously there's a particular squad that they're showcasing
Why
in this.
madmen do what they do.
This is suicide.
Well, that's kind of our thing.
That was awesome, tearing that guy in half. Man, great stuff right there.
Don't you worry, eh? I'm gonna get you out of here alive.
I'm going to get you out of here.
These are kind of the two main characters right there. The Rat Girl.
Oh my god! We've got a freaking kaiju up in this shit!
Yeah, Starro the Conqueror. So there's that.
I love the rain. It's like angels are splooching all over us.
Yeah, a lot of witty banter and stuff like that. A lot more comedy in this one, definitely, than the last one, right? Now, here for the summary, they say, the government sends the most dangerous supervillains in the world, Bloodsport, Peacemaker, King Shark, Harley Quinn, and others, to the remote, enemy-infused island of Corto Maltese, through the dangerous jungle on a search-and-destroy mission with only Colonel Rick Flag on the ground to make them behave. Now, obviously, this is a little bit different than what the feel of the first one was. I did like maybe the first little bit of the first one where it introduces the characters and they show like Batman, like, you know, arresting some of them basically, and the whole way they all formed together. That was great. But then the rest of that movie just went to shit. I mean, come on. If anybody's seen it, they know that movie was very disappointing. But this movie, on the other hand, is actually fairly enjoyable. And one thing that you got to say is, like, right away you see in the whole aspect when you hear about spoilers or you hear about them talking about this in general, you hear like lots of people die, like tons of these guys die, right? And that's not really to spoil anything because I won't talk about any of obviously the main characters they're showing in the trailer and stuff like that. But you see like basically all those side characters they like kind of just briskly go through in the trailers and stuff like that. Those guys you get to all die, you see them all die in glorious fashion basically. And that's a really good introduction because they show you how they're using the Suicide Squad just to even as decoys, whatever they got to do to just get missions done, and they'll just throw a bunch of these like kind of, you know, degenerate supervillains at people basically to get whatever they need. And it's pretty interesting, and it kind of gives you a good introduction into all the characters and stuff like that, and gives you a good laugh at the same time for the older characters and some of the random ones they threw in there. Once again, like I was saying in the trailer, Bloodsport and the one rat girl is basically like the two main characters in this. Obviously Harley Quinn's a big character, but she's not like the main character in this. That's one thing. And Peacemaker and King Shark, well, and Polka Dot Man that they show in the trailer, they're all pretty much like very prominent, and they cover ground for them a lot in the movie. They do a really good job of that. Now, it says obviously in the summary, right, that they bring them to this enemy-infused island of Corto Maltese. That takes quite a while to get there. This whole thing is basically the bringing together of the group. They kind of do a lot of jumping back and forth from like now to a few days earlier to a few days after that, and like stuff like that, just so you can kind of see the buildup of how they get to this whole Corto Maltese, and they get to show you a good bit of like how they narrowed it down to just that squad and all that, right? And basically what the deal is they get them to go to Corto Maltese because you see that big starfish thing. Basically what happens is the Star of the Conqueror has the ability to let out all these little starfish, and they can cling onto you and control you and stuff like that. And it keeps growing and growing and growing, right? And basically they're there to go and destroy this, and you know, kind of that's like their mission, right? But obviously there's a lot more that gets in the way of this whole situation. There's tons of little side things that happen. You know, people, like some of the guys will get kidnapped or they'll be put in danger. And then obviously the squad has to either regroup or redirect course. And they do that a lot throughout the whole movie, right? I wouldn't take the movie obviously too serious as far as like everything goes. It's strictly supposed to be a fun movie. It's like an enjoyable kind of comic book movie. There's lots of action. There's lots of just ridiculous jokes. I mean, I really like King Shark, played by Sylvester Stallone. Like, let me play you just a couple little clips of him, because he's just awesome.
Yes, that is your hand. Very good.
Hand clip right there.
We're all gonna die.
King Shark. Some people claim that Nanawe is a descendant of an ancient shark god.
Pretending to read a book.
So smart, me.
He's strong and deadly.
He has very
Yo, he just cracks me up because he's like damn near invincible too. Like you can see they can shoot at him and bullets just bounce
against
off.
the wall. Looks nothing like me.
Careful. He's developed a taste for human meat.
Nom nom.
You see, obviously he's not very controllable in the sense he loses it a lot. And
Hungry.
yeah, really fun. And like some of the other characters obviously are very enjoyable as well. Like Polka Dot Man kind of has like some kind of weird virus, and he can like launch these polka dots at people, and they like turn into boils on his skin that are like neon and stuff, and like they're like crazy acid, like explosive kind of things, and it's just so weird. And you know, the rat lady obviously can control rats and make them do shit for her, and Bloodsport is just a gnarly, like, good marksman. Basically he's good at using anything as a weapon, right? Same deal with obviously Deadshot in the other movie, and Peacemaker as well in this is also like kind of a marksman like character, but he's a little like over the top. Like you get a lot of good humor out of him because he's one of those like, I'm all about peace. If I have to kill all these men, women, and children to get peace, I'll do it. Like it's that kind of stuff, right? And everybody's just really over the top. The soundtrack is all right. They got some decent songs in there. I gotta say though, the pacing is a little weird because you do get to some points where it is very slow. And there was a couple points, like there was one Harley Quinn scene that's just like kind of strays away from Harley Quinn's, like I feel like her as a character, and kind of strays away from like what is going on in the movie, and really just slows things down for quite a big stint of time. And that was just, I don't know, that was a little agitating. And there was just a couple other things here and there that were just generally slow. Decent amount of dialogue in there, which does have funny dialogue though, I gotta say. But overall, right, I'm going to give you my review. I would say that this is like a solid, I don't know, I would say 7 out of 10. Like it's just solid. It's just enjoyable. It's funny. You can just watch it in your spare time. You'd probably put it on multiple times because there's plenty of like jokes and witty banter and stuff like that. You can see how James Gunn, who did this movie, like he did like with the Guardians of the Galaxy, like he makes you really enjoy the really obscure characters a lot, like King Shark and like some of the really bizarre, like completely powerless basically characters. Like they show TDK, and he's a guy that basically can detach his arms and like move them around and slap people with his arms, which does absolutely nothing. And you see funny stuff like the guy's arms getting shot at, and then he's just like his torso is all over on the ground somewhere, like rolling around screaming. Like it's just super silly, and just all of that stuff that they get to dive into with each character, especially for like the first third of the movie, is highly enjoyable for sure. I got a real good laugh out of that, and I do recommend that absolutely. Now let's get into just a little bit of spoilers here. Spoilers. So spoiled. All right, so spoilers, right? After they obviously beat Starro, because you know that's going down, right? And they have the Thinker in there, and they do that whole thing, right? You see that there's a point where Bloodsport and Peacemaker kind of are at it the whole time, because they're very similar characters. They're just a little bit two different extremes, but same kind of skills and all that stuff. And Peacemaker obviously and him have a big fight at the end, and because Peacemaker is going to, no matter what, do what Boss says. And obviously Bloodsport is not going to do that. So they find out that basically somehow, like, you know, the United States government's responsible for everything, and you know, they're just there to cover it up, and they're all like, oh man, it's time for us to be like super righteous, man, and we're going to like totally expose this, like, whatever, right? And they get in a big fight, and then obviously Bloodsport gets the upper hand and basically looks like he kills him. But then obviously you see an after credit scene where he lives and he gets to live on, and you see like all the characters are basically getting like released. Their sentences are pretty much wiped for the most part, and they obviously lead up to a little open-ended thing for another movie, or for obviously the Peacemaker HBO Max series that they're gonna do, which I would definitely enjoy watching. I'm sure if it's like most of the banter you got from John Cena's character the whole time, then you'll probably enjoy the hell out of it. That is if you enjoy his character in this movie, which I'm sure you will. They're really fun. They're just really silly, over the top characters, and that kind of drives the whole movie. The general story and the way it played out, obviously I'm not like a huge fan of. It was all right, but like I said, it's strictly just a fun comic book movie to just watch and like basically repeat some of the jokes with your friends and just have a good time. So again, I'm going to give this a 7 out of 10. Check out The Suicide Squad in theaters and in HBO Max. Sukatube out.
Dropping lines like an assembly. I'm staying on point. It's my strategy. Feel like they tracking me. Yo, let me get on one. Nah, go get your tracks up. Homie, can I steal some? Homie, you can't stack up. My brother, can you shout me? You're barking up the wrong tree. My dog, why do you doubt me? Cause you can't do shit without me.
Real at the radio and never play it, but that's cool. The enemy's supposed to hate it.